So the solution to them was, this is by the way their own slides, so I've just taken their slides and pasted. So they had a pool of practices. Some of them are governance practices, some of them are team practices, and how to work as self-organizing teams and so on. And then they have some technical practices. And by them, they define a starter pack, which is something they can reuse to define individual methods for different products we develop. So the starter pack is used to create their own way, a specific way of working. And that specific way of working can take other practices, not in the starter pack, from the pool and use. And they can also create new practices based on their own. And this is not the only thing we did. We have been extremely successful in getting their organization to learn from one another. Before, they were different silos working with different methods because of no way for them to communicate. Finally, this is Fujitsu, Fujitsu is a service provider developing products for customers. And they wanted to move to Lean and Agile to develop applications. And they had they created something they called APT framework, which is practices and tools. So they selected tools from all around the world, open source. They liked open source, and cheap tools. They didn't like the expensive tools. And they used the selected practices which we felt were useful for the organization. They saved a lot of time and gave a quicker start. So here is basically, they had the method composer that took practices and composed them into a method. Actually, we used S-Work, which is developed by my company, and they also produced from that, using S-Work, we could produce a list of activities which moved into a management tool, activity management tool. In this case, it was Jira. And from Jira, we produced a list of activities to do. And when you then worked in Jira, you actually could see the cause and so on coming up when you were doing the activity. So it was tightly integrated and helped them a lot. I'm sorry, since this is the first time I didn't really know how much time I've used, but, and I'm very bad at doing dry runs, so. The value of this is you can define practice independent governance. So people could use different practices, but the governance, how you share, how you learn from one another, was the same. You could also much quicker put together a team because people had the same basic competence. They knew the kernel. If you go into a large company and see how they work with different methods for different products, it's very hard to move the top guy from one organization to the other because he has to learn elementary things like what is a sprint. I know what iteration is, but I don't know what a sprint is. That's an easy example. But you know, there are lots of things like that to make it very hard to move. And they could also scale agile approaches across teams of teams and systems of systems, and finally select enterprises. So we think Agile and CMAT are good partners. And personally, I think there's no better partnership to distribute to the rest of the world than that. So that is the key message. And now I can recommend you to go to this and play with games. They are quite fun to play with, but also very useful. So please join the community, get involved. We have a CMAT chapter in South Korea, I got that from. We have that too in South Korea, but in South Africa. So, and as Barry mentioned, we are going to have tomorrow a more developed presentation of details, and we have a whole day, I think, with many other people coming in and talking about this. So you're welcome. The book here was published in January and is intended to give you a clear understanding of the kernel. And since Martin referenced Bob Martin, Uncle Bob, I'd also like to do that. He feels this is, he wrote the foreword to the book and is quite supportive of the ideas here. But I let you read what he said in the book itself, and so please join the community. Thank you very much.
Any questions? The back there.
Please utilize the microphone, that's very helpful. Speak slowly because I am Swedish, you know that.
My name is Paul Mugai from Wetzel University. I'm glad to see that you had several case studies to showcase. What are the main challenges across the different institutions that you work with that you can observe following your approach?
So what are the main challenges in the following approach? First of all, it doesn't compete with anything. I mean, it's very, very clear it doesn't compete with Agile or Waterfall. It basically can explain in a better way whatever way you would like to work. But it not only explains, it also helps you through these states. So I would say that we have now 7 years of experience in working with this, and I have basically spent full time on this for 4 years. I would have given up a long time ago if I didn't see that this really progressed. But it takes education. This kernel have to be educated. You have to read the book. And if you read the book, please don't flip it, that many people do, but read it. And I also feel that we need to get education more spread, and that is starting now. We have basically had to spend these 4 years to develop the kernel, and not had anything really substantial to give the community. But this is not a new hype. So it will take time, and we don't expect to be popular like in many other places. We expect to be solid and build something that we solidly can stand. Because the software development area is still very immature. We really don't know in any good foundation for how it means to develop software. I know how to do it my way, you know how to do it your way, and you know how to do it your way, but we don't have much in common. And that's what we are trying to share.
Okay. Guys, we're running a little bit late unless there's a burning question. Joshua, are you on your way or are you making... Okay, we'll take one more question. Thank you.
Good day. I saw your talk on CMAT about a year or two back. I just want to congratulate you on what you've done. I think there's grown a lot from what I've seen in the last year or two. And even the book. And I think it's sorry that you didn't show how you mapped Scrum or XP onto the CMAT kernel, because I think that was really interesting in the previous talks. But I just want to congratulate. I think it looks really good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ivar. 3-minute joke, absolutely.
I have 3 minutes.
Okay, that's just pause. I was going to tell a 4-minute joke. This saves us time.
I'm learning the challenge joke. So, basically, you know, we wonder where this seaman comes from. It actually came from a conversation I had with one of the other founders, and we had a bad connection. I told him, I think we should call it SMART. SMART is something I've been working with for many years. I've given many talks about what they don't teach you about software school. Be smart. So, and as you know, SMART and I actually said that SMART is Agile plus plus, because you can be Agile without being smart, right? But if you're smart, you probably need to be Agile. So I taught that, and then I wanted to explain what smart means. I had a story. It was about 2 fools. You've heard of that. 2 fools were standing on the street talking about how to become rich. And at that very moment, the guy in the Lamborghini comes like Porsche's car. And when he steps out of the car, one of the fools said to the other, he must be rich, I'm asking how to do it. So he walks up to the rich guy and says, sir, you must be rich, can you tell me how to become rich? You have to be smart. Smart, what does that mean? Okay, I'll explain to you. So the rich guy walks up to a tree and puts his hand in front of the tree and says, hit me as hard as you can. And after some hesitation, fool hit as hard as he could. But just as he was about to hit his hand, the rich guy lifted his hand and hit the trunk of a tree. And the rich guy said, okay, now you understand what it means to be smart. And he walks away. The poor guy, he walks over to his friend, and his friend says, you know how to become rich? Yeah, you have to be smart. Smart, what does that mean? Okay, I'll show you. He looked around, but he couldn't find the trees, so he said, hit me as hard as you can.
Thank you, Ivar.
So, I had told my colleague, I want to call the initiative SMART. But we had a very bad connection, and he heard C. And he said, that is what I always wanted to call an initiative. So now you know why. Thank you very much.